Welcome to the bold analysis. The country has paid attention to the MBEERE North by-election, something that to me, really not a celebration. And I think you seem to see the indicator of the different races. In this podcast, we are going to look at the wider view of nearly all the 22 races and what it depicts for the country's 2027 elections, and on the broad-based viewpoint. We have listened to how the president is fashioning the by-election results, and there is something that keenly the country must listen to. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get deep into this, I am humbly requesting you to partner with us to support Mama Zawadi, the widowed Kilifi lady of 6. I am producing this video in Kilifi. Mama Zawadi you are seeing here has been on my call for nearly a year. They approached me last year when I was here to build a house for some 2 crippled brothers. And while at this point, at that time, she was actually in the streets with the children. And I told the team that brought her case that they should make a way wamtafutie mahali akae. This was after she lost the husband. She was kicked out of kwao, mahali bwana alitoka, because that side was on the side of, I'm told, the side of Shakahola. She was kicked out and came to the streets with the children. And then, after a case was brought to us, we made plans and she was taken kwao mahali alizaliwa. And for the last 1 year, this is the place she was in. So when they called me, they were in distress because she's actually stranded and this house can actually come down. So when I came here, it is a story of resilience on how she fought to struggle for the children and the family. I have already, Kawira, one of our team members, has spoken with her and she has accepted that on Monday she will undergo birth control measures, family planning. At least sasa hata kuzaa sasa iweze kuisha. But the challenges came with even the environment because she was actually in the street. Like, it has been a different story. Like even the small girl there, her story is deep. And I feel like if we get her a good shelter, mahali atakaa na familia yake na watoto, it will be a good intervention to settle her aweze kukaa. This is where she stays. And I think Zawadi's story is very deep for me. Guys?
Maana nimeona mkaeka hii.
Mkaeka hii karatasi kwa sababu ya hao watoto wasimeshe.
Watoto wadogo. Changamoto nyingine labda ipo kwa hii nyumba vile ipo?
Changamoto ni hiyo makuti, sababu ya makuti. Ndio sina nafasi sina fedha ya kununua makuti
I've already bought bricks, as you can see here, na nikanunua mchanga. And I've already bought some 5 bags. Hiyo kazi imeanza for today. I'm requesting you that for me to finish the wall, I need around 25 bags of cement and also to pay some foodies. That's around 40,000. So for today until kesho asubuhi, even if you can offer and say, Kevin, wacha nisimamie 2 bags of cement, or wacha nilipe fundi wawili. I have 4 fundis and watu wamkona around 4, and the other watu ambao wanaleta maji because water is also a problem in Kilifi. I'll be glad that help us reach the deficit of 40,000 today to maliza wall. Tomorrow when I come back to you, we shall be talking about the roofing na dirisha. It is in my view that by Monday, I should be done. Materials zote ziko zimepatikana. I leave David to do the work so that tumalizane na yeye when we finish up ni kumfungulia biashara. Thank you very much kindly for responding. You can take something participating in this. I have listened to the president talking on the by-election wins and is telling the country that it is a confirmation that the country bought the plan. And part of the plan is the broad-based plan. In my view, this is a white lie.
Kiambu hoye! Kiambu hoye! Mnasema tuendelee ama tuendelee? Mnasema tuendelee ama tuendelee? Jana, si mnajua jana kulikuwa na uchaguzi Kenya? Si mnajua kulikuwa na uchaguzi? Jana. Mimi nawauliza. Jana tulikuwa na uchaguzi katika taifa letu la Kenya mdogo. Si ndio? Kutoka MBEERE mpaka kule Kasipul. Kutoka kule Banisa kupitia Baringo mpaka kufika huko Malava. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Kati ya viti 7, si ndio, ya ubunge na senate, yote 7 ilishindwa na broad based government. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Ni kweli ama si kweli? Mimi nataka niwaulize, si ndio? Unajua kuna watu Kenya hii wamezoea maneno ya bure. Wakikuja hapa mtawasikia ni watu hawana agenda, ni watu hawana mpango, ni watu hawana sera. Watakuja hapa wawaambie maneno matatu peke yake. Hakuna kitu kingine watawaambia. Watawaambia one term, Kasongo, must go. Sasa niwaulize watu wa Kiambu. Acha mimi nawaulize. Na mimi nataka niwaambie, hakuna kitu watasema. Hawajui mambo ya barabara. Hawajui tutapata afya namna gani. Hawajui affordable housing itajengwa namna gani. Hawajui mambo ya SHA itaendeshwa namna gani. Hawajui highway kama hii itajengwa namna gani. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Wanajaribu kutuuzia ukabila na chuki na migawanyiko. Mimi tayari nishawaambia. Mimi niliwaeleza juzi. Nyinyi watu wa ukabila, watu wa chuki, nyinyi ambao watu mnaendesha sijui one term, Kasongo na must go. Hiyo sio sera. Tafuteni sera. Na niliwaambia wasipotafuta sera watachelewa. Sasa jana wananchi, mimi niliwapatia ilani. Wananchi wamerudia jana. Si wananchi wamepatiwa ilani? Si wananchi wamepatia hawa majamaa ilani? Wananchi wamewaambia tena jana, tafuteni sera, tafuteni mpango, tafuteni agenda. Kama ni one term, Kasongo na must go, chuma chenu kimotoni, mtaona kivumbi.
Bragging about people buying a plan on a tightly contested by-election in MBEERE, where you've won with 400 votes and Panyako's Malava with 1,000 votes, I don't think it's about buying the plan. Ugunja, Magarini and Kasipul was ODM zones with a very strong Raila sympathy in the ballot. And I don't think the people of Kasipul bought the plan. It was not the plan. What the ODM people told the people in Kasipul and Ugunja is, you guys vote to honor Raila. I don't think they went there and mentioned anything like the plan the president is talking about. In Malava, violence was meted on the opponent, Panyako. Vehicles burnt. IBC or police or anyone in government is yet to respond to what exactly happened. Explain to the country what exactly happened. Money dished there and election rigged. You spend billions and millions dishing money in MBEERE North disguised as empowerment. Days even the by-election was announced. And that's why I'm telling you, the money dishing scheme in MBEERE started way back. William Ruto knew, I know when the dates for the elections are coming, and this is what I want to do, and this is what I will do. Douglas, and that's why I want us to pay attention to the wider view. I think Douglas Masikonde win in Narok town is a big statement on how over-reliance of state machinery may not be the way to go. In Narok, Rigathi faced Ntutu and Ruto directly. Remember, Rigathi's convoy was actually blocked from entering Narok, and he had to go there in a headgear amidst chaos and clashes within the town, heavy police presence to block him. Threats the video that we shared in this podcast of some people even attacking non-Maasai in Narok town. That is why it is that one is a very big testament that state machinery and all that someone might depend and might want to work on, maybe does not. I want us to look at Dickson Okwiri winning Kisa East in Kakamega. The party, which is merely 6 months, in fact, it is even yet to be launched, winning an MCA seat in Kakamega, sends a chilling message that Cleophas Malala, who is the deputy party leader of DCP, is a strong asset for the party and a very strong axis for the Kakamega vote as far as that opposition is concerned. David Wanyoike Takwarue winning Kariobangi North MCA seat in Nairobi, rivaling ODM, UDA, and the whole broad-based, is also another indicator on how the Nairobi vote will be critical and will be delicate to win for the ruling coalition. And for the Nairobi vote, I have also seen ODM descending on Sifuna, that Sifuna ought to have taken that seat for ODM because he's Nairobi senator and is popular in Nairobi. But you need to find out who is the MP for Kariobangi Embakasi for that area. Is Gakuya. I don't know the constituency. Is it Kariobangi South or Kariobangi North or something? The MP there is Gakuya, where this MCA has won. And so, Nairobi will slightly tilt on the side of the opposition. Chwele Kabuchai, independent candidate Wekesa, clearly winning against Ford Kenya. And the chief campaigner for this gentleman was Majimbo Kalasinga. Majimbo Kalasimba is a rebel MP from Ford Kenya and has been clashing with Moses Wetangula since then. So Bungoma vote, again here, Didmas Baraza will convert a huge chunk of, a significant chunk of that vote, but the Bungoma vote is clearly under a big threat from the Tawe guys. I have seen Panyako is saying that he won in 134 polling stations out of 198. So he's been rigged out of 54. So how the 54 trumped him is something yet to find out. But I've seen the Ndakwa's convoy snailing, making its way in Malava, and the people are just staring, like unbothered about that convoy. Look at Kasipul. In Kasipul, Boyd Were got 16,000 votes against an independent candidate, Aroko, who pulled 8,000 votes, going against the Raila sympathy card and all the ODM bravado in the region. This is one that you can't ignore. Because in the next general election, ODM is going to face more independent candidates and more rebel candidates. Here is a place that Wanga tried pitching the broad-based, and wamejaribu. Yes, it's gotten 16 with 8,000. It's not a bad divide. And having also known that Boyd Were was the son of the MP, there were so many sympathy cards that were on the table, both for the death of Raila and for the death of his father. This is also one that you cannot ignore. It is in my view that while the opposition can make sense of the whole thing and say they've made some strides, they've made some attempts, but the real message is also out there. And I've been saying it, and I will repeat it. The village folks, they're not in social media. They're not watching the television analysts. They're not even watching us. Kuna siasa ya the social media na kuna siasa ya ground. I think the Kalonzo, Matiang'i, and the team, they must first change strategy and go to the people. Go talk to the people. And again, the villagers are buying the lies. There is a lot of lying. It is only me and you who can see those lies. Sisi tunaweza ziona and we can say. And you can make informed decision. But our mothers in the village are the real culprits. They are the real subjects. They are the real target market for Mr. Politician with a bunch of lies. I'm telling you, it is lying, packaged, a lie on this end, and some 500 shilling note on this side of the a lie na hii mkono, kudanganya huku na pesa huku. That person is confused.
We're having things like state resources benefiting the ruling party and all.
Are they doubtful simply because they are close numbers, or simply because, or emotionally? You know, there's also that perception that because you're emotionally affected, you feel that your candidate did not win. When, for example, in Malava, the difference is about 1,000 votes. That's a very close call. Depending on who's speaking, you might think that the results are questionable, but is there any credible evidence that they are questionable?
I think they're doubtful when it comes to public trust. In that, if we, there is a way we can vote, and we all know, I don't know, voting is an individual decision and it is very private, but there is a way you all can vote and see we are voting for Trevor and Trevor is going to win. And we don't see the effort of Trevor's opponent. We don't see why Trevor's opponent would win over Trevor.
And then he wins.
And then he wins.
Yeah.
So now we are not saying that Trevor's opponent was not supposed to win, but we are doubting how did Trevor's opponent win? How come he got there? And I'd also like to say, he said that is a vote of confidence for the President William Ruto. I wouldn't call it a vote of confidence. I'd like to call it it is a confident mess for us in 2027. In that, yes, but I feel like it can be corrected. The whole problem is, for me, I'd blame IEBC. In that, I feel like IEBC needs to stamp more authority. It needs to show us the I in IEBC, independent. It needs to work independently. It needs to set its own rules. Like, for example, you see when it was fining candidates, I feel like for such a case, candidates should have been eliminated, not fined. If they should have been disqualified. If somebody is not behaving according to the electoral standards, I feel like they need to be disqualified.
Would that build confidence or break it? Because remember, these were the two top contenders.
Yeah.
The one who came number one and number two. What would the electorate say if IBC decides, unilaterally declares that these two are not running? Wouldn't that be a recipe for chaos in itself?
The thing is, Trevor, if if we put standards and say these are the standards that we've put in place, and somebody does not meet those standards and we disqualify them, I don't feel like that is something wrong.
So even as we head towards 2027, you cannot take comfort of industry making. Banisa is another election where by Sasita, the one in Mandera, by Sasita, even election had not started. I don't know even whether they voted. There is no journalist there captured the elections going on. Purko, UDA won, DCP coming second. Turkana, there is a word that ODM won, DCP and UDA coming second and third. So, if you look at the national layout, I can say for the opposition, this is an eye-opener for them. They know the view of what they're dealing with. And there is something I realized on the side of the opposition. UDA party had some results live streaming, and I analyzed it. They were using that to talk to Wanjiku, to tell Wanjiku they have won. Did the opposition have an alternative telling center for themselves? No. Why? Because the rule is the results at the polling station are final. So you just need to have agents. Is it practical to have agents in all the polling stations? It is not. Can election be rigged again? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to tell you that election can be rigged. Kama Raila alikuwa rigged. Hey. That is one thing I can tell the opposition, that election can be rigged. And they must tighten their approach even on electoral reforms. I think without reforms, we'll never have that. I want to explain in detail some 3 big traps that have been set in Mount Kenya by the MBEERE North by-election. There is some 3 traps. That trap is there. I want to explain that. But first, kindly, take a minute. Donate something to support us build a house for Zawadi. Huyu mama amepitia changamoto sana. And I was just mentioning to you, she actually lost the husband, had to go to the street because she was kicked out of that home. So last time when I was here, she was actually in the street. So when they reached out, I told them, wamrudishi wampeleke hata wampeleke kwao. So she was taken to their place, where I told them, let them just put a structure for her. When I was called again to come for aid, I found her in that place. But one thing that encouraged me kwamba hata watoto wote alikuwa nao kwa street alirudi nao. And she's there with them. So kindly, we are putting up a house for Mama Zawadi, the widowed lady of 6 children, in Kilifi. We are going pole pole. Today, I have a deficit of around 30,000. Niweze kumalizana na smiti na pia kulipa mafundis for tomorrow. I want to believe that by tomorrow, I'll go there on Wednesday. I'll go there on Saturday, tomorrow evening. At least hiyo roof ikuwe imeshafika juu. Kishafika juu, then we mobilize for the roof. Big trap. UDA MPs will frame anti-Rigathi force in Mount Kenya and blindly use that MBEERE to say that UDA is back. Ruto is the Mount Kenya kingpin. I don't think so. I don't think so. But a perception has to be created, and the politics of perception is there. That is why, at the same time, the opposition must also make their way back. And they must go to talk to people. Leave alone these road rallies. Go to meet these people in town halls. Meet these people in some groups, one-on-one. And give an alternative. Inspire something else. There is something the president is telling the people, and probably the people are listening. So you must get message. After kusema 2-term, 1-term, it's very easy for Wanjiku to choose either 2-term or 1-term. Because if you said 1-term, they said 2-term. It's very easy for someone to be paid money to choose. but give out some. And this explanation of our plan is to remove you first, it's a bit vague. It is not, it's a lazy one. Get to the real thing. There is a feeling that state machinery is available, and even leaders who are struggling in their respective constituencies that want to sacrifice will feel that a state machinery will be used for me and I cannot lose that by election. I can promise you here, in MBEERE constituency, Eric Wamumbi is not going to win that seat in 2027. He's not. There is a big difference on, even if you check MBEERE last election, it was neck to neck. Kirinyaga, Nyeri, Muranga, Nyandarua, Laikipia, it's going to be a different layout altogether. But a trap is going to be set, and MPs will now go back to coalesce around the president, thinking and believing. In 2027, Ruto will seek his vote. The MP seats will fall by the wayside. After that election, if he wins and he doesn't have the numbers, he will buy the opposition numbers. Lastly, I think someone is thinking, it's been made, a mindset has been set that under Ruto influence, and this is mostly for the broad-based team, under Ruto influence, we can make it. Not any other MP is going to have the sympathy card, and you're not so sure the sympathy card will be available at the disposal of ODM candidates 2 years after Raila is gone. So if you use these by-elections to take credit of broad-based, that is a misplaced credit. It's a misplaced credit. The by-election, the general election, is going to be a different layout with different dynamics, where you'll have to face other candidates. And it's time to introspect. Thank you.